If you're a follower of spirituality or metaphysics, then you're probably quite familiar with the collectives, the multidimensional collectives like the Pleiadians or the Arcturians. In many cases, these collectives are also designated by a dimension, the 9th dimensional Pleiadians or the 11th dimensional Arcturians. In our case, here we are humans on this 3rd dimensional planet. And we are actually a collective. So we could call ourselves the 3rd Dimensional Human Collective. So this video is going to talk about what that means and how we are going to transition from the 3rd Dimensional Collective to a higher dimensional one. So let's get started. I've had many opportunities to work with channels who bring in this information from these extra-dimensional collectives. And in many cases, I'm able to ask them questions because the channel goes into a trance. And so I am directly communicating with these beings. And one of my favorite questions that I've asked them is, what is your individuality like? Do you have individual members? And of course, the answer is a little bit vague, but the main idea is that no, they are talking to us as a true collective. There aren't necessarily individuals recognized in the group, that there is a group of them and they are communicating with us directly. So when we think about the 3rd Dimensional Human Collective, we don't think of that sort of thing. We don't speak through each other. You don't go to a party and then everybody just says the same thing all at the same time. We are here at this party and we are having a good time, right? Like it just doesn't work like that. So how is it possible that we actually have an actual collective and that we are not just separate beings? Well, we're going to get into that. But first I have to explain that when you think about the 9th dimensional Pleiadians or the 11th dimensional Arcturians, you usually think about that collective as opening up possibility, that there is definitely a lack of limitation. However, when you think about a 3rd dimensional human collective, the reality is that there is quite a bit of limitation. Our belief systems are inherent in everything that we do, and it is a major part of our collective consciousness. Our belief systems are incredibly wide and varied, and they offer debilitating limitation to all of humanity, really. Here are just a few that pervades our way of life. We have believed for a long time that we are unruly, chaotic beings that need leadership to keep us in line. We need medicine and doctors to heal. If it cannot be scientifically proven, it isn't true. We need to use money to have a fair exchange and to survive. In order to succeed and survive, you need to get a job. You should get a car. You should get a house. You should have a family. No pain, no gain. We believe that sacrifice and struggle are required to thrive. It's difficult to, and really you can insert any statement here. We believe that all of life is very difficult. Money is evil, or money doesn't grow on trees. It just goes on and on. All of these limiting beliefs are at a collective level. When the collective consciousness fully believes in something, so do we. And until we start to awaken, we can't even see it any other way. History has shown that when people try to go against the 3D human collective, they fail. And they can fail for a long time before finally somebody breaks through. Think about the climbing Mount Everest. Society believed that climbing Mount Everest was almost impossible or impossible to do. And people continued to fail and continue to fail for years and years until finally one person did it. Then all of a sudden, everybody could do it. And there's been many, many people that have climbed Mount Everest. The same was true with the 4-minute mile. For the longest time, we believed that it was impossible to run a 4-minute mile. And people would get very close and then they would collapse just at the end, even though they were on pace to make it. And this happened over and over and over again until finally someone was so determined and so convinced that they could do it that they beat the collective consciousness perceived limitation. And then once they did it, then lots of people were able to do it. As you look back through this list, you're starting to see that most of the human collective belief systems are actually crumbling. We are really beginning to prove them wrong, even though the strength of those beliefs has driven us for decades and some of these things even centuries. As we can break through these beliefs, and so many more that I didn't list, we'll start to find that these things are completely broken and more amazing achievements will become reality. This is what gurus and lightworkers mean when they say that the change has to come from within, because you're adding to the collective consciousness. Every experience that you have adds value and understanding to the collective. So for instance, if you had cancer and you decided that you could heal yourself, and then you actually do heal yourself without having to go to doctors and have chemotherapy, then you add to the collective consciousness, you add to the third dimensional human collective that yes, we can heal ourselves. And so you move our collective consciousness away from believing that we have to do all that, and we start to open up to the idea that, oh wait, we can actually heal ourselves. This is why my messages are generally so positive. Yes, there are terrible things that are going on in the world, and I offer understanding of why those terrible things are going on all the time. And I also offer that so that you can relax and so that you don't bring lower vibrational emotions into your field and into the collective consciousness. If you can look at all the suffering of the world as just part of the process to get ourselves into a new state of mind, into a new state of being, and into a new state of dimension, then you are helping the collective consciousness. But if you absorb all of these things and say, oh, the world is so screwed up, oh, we don't have a chance, we're never going to get there, then you're adding that to the collective consciousness. I also want to take a moment to talk about some of the world's problems, because I know that some of you are really burdened by them, and you think that if we ignore them, then we're just adding to the problem. But that's not what we're saying at all. We are not ignoring the problems. We are just moving into a state of higher vibrational emotions surrounding those things. That is how we're going to solve those problems on an individual basis. But then, as for practical solutions, let's go ahead and get into it. First, we need to list off some of the major world issues so we can establish a baseline. Plastic and garbage in the ocean. Homeless people in the first world nations and poverty the world over. Starvation. Human-caused climate change. Endangered species. Nuclear waste pouring into the ocean at Fukushima. The Amazon jungle being forested and wiped out. The petrodollar and United States military dominance. Racist and sexist policies. And the list keeps going, but I think that's a good baseline that we can all agree. These are pretty major issues that we're facing as a world, as a people, as a collective. Many of us, particularly empaths, can see this list and feel sick to their stomachs. These are definitely third-dimensional human collective problems. However, you don't have to feel overwhelmed by this list. But if there is an item on this list, or other items that aren't on here, that highly interests you, then I encourage you to dive deeper. Passion guides us to our purpose, and I have a video that describes this in more detail, but suffice it to say that your excitement is a method by which your higher self is telling you this is what you're supposed to be doing. It will guide you to a synchronistic experience so that all the things come into play that you need in order to execute on your passion and execute on your life purpose. One of the great things is that everyone on this planet has the same system. So not only for you, if you follow your passion, if you follow your excitement, then you will be delivered incredible synchronicities that will guide you on a path, on a journey to experience your life mission and to experience the success of your life's mission. but that's true for everyone. So let's say that you are particularly passionate about one particular item on that list. Maybe you are interested in saving an endangered species, and maybe even just one species, right? You're not trying to save all the endangered species of the world. You just pick your one that you're super passionate about, and you go down that path. Then you will be led on the synchronicities that will allow you to be more successful in that area. But that's true for everyone. So rather than looking at all the plastic in the ocean and going, oh my gosh, how is this ever going to get fixed? Or climate change, oh my gosh, that's never going to get fixed. Know that there are thousands and probably hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people who are super passionate about all the other items on the list. So you can trust and know that they're going to be successful. And if you do just a little bit of research, you'll find all kinds of interesting, scientific, and exciting ideas and concepts that are in the works for almost all those items. So you can rest and relax and trust in that system. And if you follow it yourself, then you add to the collective consciousness that that is truly a solution. And that if everyone does that, then we will solve all the world's problems. And we're definitely going in that direction at this time. So I can't state enough how important it is that for you to look at everything that's happening in the world with as many high vibrational emotions as possible. And the best way to do that is to walk up the chart. That is a method that I teach in this video right here, where you can take one step at a time to observe any situation, any stimuli, anything, and begin to walk up the emotional frequency chart, looking at things with acceptance, and then with optimism, and then with enthusiasm or excitement, and then with gratitude, and finally with love, and even with unconditional love. I have an activation available that you can download from my website that will help move you and the human collective from the third dimension to the fourth and to the fifth. This fifth dimensional activation that you can download off my website is probably one of my most powerful free ones. So I'll leave a link in the description for that below. And thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you understand a little bit more about how amazing we are as a third dimensional human collective. And I have so many more things to talk about in this subject and in this topic. So I look forward to you subscribing to the channel so you can see more and more about this and so many other topics. Thank you again so much. I love you unconditionally, and I'll see you in the next video.